The CIA
Let the goldness begin.
would of course be in there on the ground.
Golden Debate Show, and then we'll get into a Golden Show, earlymodermob.com, where we try to keep things creative, open minds that everyone's life from FEMA Region 1. Golden Show.
Solution here?
Oh, the better solution was, as Mr. Paul said, never go at all. This was none of our business.
Finds that the U.S. government has played a major role in orchestrating most of those so-called terror plots.
Unless you like your news fucking read by teleprompters and you like being lied to, and unless you like your music the same fucking 20 jams in your head over and over and over again in a row, let's get them likes and comments and them shares and them downloads up. Golden Show, Golden Debate Show, early when about that kid.
Golden Debate Show. Wow. Golden Debate Show. We talk about this all around.
How we gonna set it off like we always do? 2 minute news from YouTube. Let's get it in, brother.
Golden
Bippity black. Okay. Golden Show, Golden Debate Show.
Every day.
Golden Show, Golden
The
Debate Show.
Tokyo Electric Power Company has released information detailing problems that they are seeing during the installation and operation of an underground freezing pipeline that researchers hoped would slow the groundwater contamination and radioactive releases that make their way into the Pacific Ocean. Scientists warn that best-case scenarios put moderate containment measures into effect in no less than 10 to 15 years, leading environmentalists and concerned researchers around the world to stress that within that time frame, the Pacific Ocean and the world's citizens that rely on it may have experienced an overwhelming amount of radiation that could cause an untold amount of damage to both humans and marine life. A study that was published in coordination with the International Livestock Research Institute, which works to provide critical information on the world's food supply chain, uses unique information to map and predict areas that researchers say are most likely to become hotspots for pandemic possible viruses, such as the currently circulating H7N9 variation of the avian flu. While researchers have known for some time that current conditions in crowded live market areas create a breeding ground for the spread of deadly viruses, information presented by scientists shows locations that were not likely considered high-threat areas, as officials warn that an increasing trend of global variations may bring the spread of a pandemic virus to the world within the coming years. Authorities are reporting that confirmed cases of chikungunya, a mosquito-borne illness that causes high fevers, intense pain, and in some cases debilitating paralysis, is continuing an explosive growth pattern in the Caribbean, with authorities noting that over 170,000 cases of the disease have been reported. Economists stress that North American consumers are beginning to experience what could become a lasting trend of inflation, following reports that showed consumer prices surging to their largest increase in over 12 months as prices for both goods and services were seen on an increase. Scientists have released the archaeological findings of one of the world's oldest recorded epidemics, with research data indicating that the Egyptian-era disease was widely contagious and brought about symptoms similar to a hemorrhagic fever, with a reportedly high level of morbidity and an increased chance for internal bleeding. And to wrap things up, researchers at the University of Tennessee are exploring ways to neutralize chemical weapons by catalyzing the hydrolysis of nerve agents, as world powers fear the use of devastating attacks across the globe. Tensions between the U.S. and Russia are increasing following reports of
well, we know
Western
GMOs are bad for you, but they're bad for you in a lot of ways because they're really susceptible. Well, they're not susceptible to fucking pesticides, so you gotta spray twice as much on them. So, yeah, places in the world where there could be less food, it can help a little bit, but the food isn't healthy, so what's the use of fucking eating that shit? I don't know, it ain't good. I don't want no GMO.
The reputation of GM giants.
Things like golden rice or golden bananas are attempts to say, oh, we can use this technology for a useful purpose that'll help the poor. So I see it more as propaganda purposes, and I think the reason that they trying so desperately with genetic engineering is it does have a bad name. 85% of the global acreage in engineered crops are all herbicide tolerant. They're designed to be sprayed with herbicides. They're designed to have you spray more pesticides on them. Part of the problem is in the United States, for example, we don't require safety assessments or feeding studies before these products are allowed on the market. Before these are even fed to people, they should go through a safety assessment and be fed, not only to animals,
do like that they're called golden banana rice, but do not like that it's GMO and it's bad for you. So this is about YouTube, man. They're already censoring a lot of people's channels that have free thought and open minds on empty ones, so now they're gonna fuck with the music. So them somebody get hit twice. Open mics that's how we gotta get them likes and comments, shares, and the fucking downloads up. What up? Goldendebateshow,
Goldendebateshow. A lot of people. What they're basically stating is that all the big guys, Universal, Sony, Warner, they're all on board. And of course, I mean, you already know their contracts and their deals are set way higher. But all these indie labels here think that they're getting pitched a low amount, a really low amount, and they're not wanting to take it. So YouTube's like, all right, well, we'll just remove your stuff altogether. They're like, what? They're like, yes. And YouTube says they will remove music videos by artists like Adele, Arctic Monkeys, Radiohead, because the independent labels to which they belong have refused to agree to the terms with this site. This is all Google through YouTube. Now, Google apparently has been trying to negotiate these contracts to prepare to launch this music subscription, which it says is going to supply a revenue. It's going to have some money coming into the artists. So they're saying, we already make you millions every year anyway, and we're looking to give you more money, and you're not happy with it. That's basically what they're saying. And the indie labels are like, no, you're trying to pitch us. The message is clear. We're worth way more than that. And what it could essentially do is strip the fans of some of the best stuff out there. And that's who loses in the end. And could essentially cripple some of these indie labels and its artists because they won't even be able to survive, make any money. And then you'll see, if something like it happens, you will see a breakdown of those final indie, and it could be staged and planned that way.
GoldenDebateshow, earlymoneyman.com, so that's pretty grimy. So this next clip is Capo's Clip of the Day. And it's about my man Muammar Gaddafi, whatever the fuck, he got popped. Everyone got popped around the USA. Now, I do feel that motherfuckers is grimy, but see, it ain't really about who's more grimy, because they're all grimy and they're all part of the same fucking clique at the end of the day, like I've been saying. They're fucking vampires, but he does spit some shit about us, and he wanted to make gold currency. He's gone.
Against its own people.
Others say it's about oil.
The only reason they're interested with Libya is about the oil. You think we'd be in Iraq if the major export there was broccoli?
But some are convinced intervention in Libya is all about currency, specifically Gaddafi's plan to introduce the gold dinar, a single African currency made from gold, a true sharing of the wealth.
It's one of these things that you have to plan almost in secret, because as soon as you say you're going to change over from the dollar to something else, you're going to be targeted. There were two conferences on this. One in 96 and another one in the year 2000, called the World Mataba Conference, organized by Gaddafi. And everybody was interested. I think most countries in Africa were keen.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold. The UK has double that, but 10 times the population.
But I do have one question. During the crisis, or any time that you're aware of, has the Federal Reserve or Treasury participated in any gold swaps arrangements?
The Federal Reserve does not own any gold at all. We have not owned gold since 1934.
The Federal Reserve does not own any gold at all. We have not owned gold since 1934. The Federal Reserve does not own any gold at all.
If Gaddafi
staged Obama's 40-minute speech by speaking for an hour and a half, delivering a scathing attack from the podium against the world body. It was as if fireworks went off. Seriously, what he said was that the UN, the world body, has failed to intervene or prevent 65 wars since the inception of the UN in 1945. Now, as Gaddafi spoke from the podium, he was holding a copy of the UN Charter in his hands, waving it ferociously, and he was saying that the UN right now is not a democratic institution because it's really the Security Council that holds the power, particularly 5 veto-wielding members of the Security Council that hold the power. He said that the power needs to be held by the General Assembly. He said that's what would make this international body more democratic. And what he said that actually shocked everybody that was watching his speech was that the Security Council should instead be called the Terrorism Council.
Hey, whoever, whatever president or king, whatever fucks around trying to change the currency, they get popped. That's what I'm going to say. So here we go. Uncle Adam and Uncle John, No Agenda Show. You can check them out on noagenda.com, but check us out at Golden Show. Golden Debate Show.
To be fired. Who are you calling on to be fired, Senator McCain?
Every one of the national security team. They've been a total failure.
The totality of the Obama administration's national security team.
Just like I called for the firing of Donald Rumsfeld back under the Bush administration when we were failing in Iraq. Yes.
A couple of things here. First of all, he said these guys won the war.
Yeah, what?
They won the war, and then he brings in his buddies, the by plugging the Institute for the Study of Killing People in brown people in sand. And that, of course, is the Kagans. Now, I actually,
what is he up to?
Well, there's a lot going on. I think I have discovered some things.
Can I play one clip before you go on?
Yes, please.
I just want to make sure we get a little balance here, and let's see what John Boehner has to say about all this.
Now they've taken control of Mosul. They're 100 miles from Baghdad. And what's the president doing? Taking a nap.
What?
Taking a nap?
What? That's what he said. What? Okay.
Taking a nap?
Thank you for your input. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, I like it.
Taking a nap.
All right. In the show notes, we got a lot of things in the show notes. Producer JB actually has done a great rundown. I'm not going to go through it all, but he has all of the stories about Kurdistan. And of course, this is a lot of this is about the Kurds in Kurdistan, and of course, this involves Syria. This involves Turkey, and
oil fields.
Yes, and so I want to focus on some of that. First, I want to say here I have this is a clip of an Iraqi army deserter who is talking about the Iraqi army. Now, most of what you'll be hearing on the mainstream media is, we spent $25 billion, which, excuse me, we spent that in a month. $25 billion. That's nothing. It's nothing.
We're spending $1 billion a week,
something like that.
Let's not fucking lowball these fucking likes, comment, shares, and the downloads. Golden Debate Show, Golden Show, earlymoneymout.com. Like, comment, share, and fucking download.
Political says Democrats are outright
shot them, my man. Shot them.
The GOP implode.
He be fucking up like you read off the teleprompter, y'all. So if you don't like teleprompters, like, comment, share, and download on an alternative fucking media site.
Happy to watch the GOP implode.
Possibly like this one.
The GOP in fight.
Getting convicted if you're suspected you might cause trouble in the future. It is a practice security services in the United States have been using, according to Muslim advocacy groups there. It's known as preventive prosecution, but critics say it's nothing more than entrapment. Marina Portnair explains how almost 95% of those found guilty were provoked by the FBI.
In a post-9/11 America, hundreds of Muslims have been arrested, prosecuted, and imprisoned for attempting to carry out terrorist attacks. However, this study just released finds that the U.S. government has played a major role in orchestrating most of those so-called terror plots in order to exaggerate.
This is my man Josh Reed from theglobalreality.com. You can check him out. And he breaks down things like he believes that our society in general, like mankind, is a lot older and we've been more technically advanced than they're saying that we've been. And he thinks a lot of things and old land monuments are like actually created by like an ancient race that had technology and stuff. So check it out. Golden Debate Show.
Or just shit talking, or it's never been about that for me.
And if that's what you think that all my work and exposing all this stuff, all those years have been about, then you didn't get it, and you didn't get me, and I'm sorry. I've been talking about this stuff because I've been trying to warn you, because I've read the writings of these clowns, man. I mean, I stuck my head deep in this stuff for years, y'all. I mean, those guys like Larry Pratt and, what was the other guy's name? Some of those guys I talk about in the See Your Right films. I mean, those guys were actively talking about, in the late 80s, creating Contra-style militias within the United States. It would be basically, vigilante groups that would organize to rise up against the government. And we've talked about, again, the escalation in Iraq. This escalation is mirroring that here. And just like we're being, told this lie of, oh, well, we have to go to Iraq because it's for the oil or Al-Qaeda and terrorism. And then people say, no, it's not terrorism, not this, it's just for the oil, whatever. And those, all those things are true, of course. But then people act like that's the only reason. It's the only reason you hear talked about in the mainstream of things for the most part. But they never do anything, folks, for one or two reasons. And we've seen the evidence of what has been done, how they, look how many pictures there are of troops, our troops, American troops, posing next to ancient sites you and I will never get access to, nor will anybody else probably ever again in the Middle East. Ancient Sumerian, Babylonian temples. And I've shown some in Volume 1 of the Lost Secrets. And these guys, posing in uniform and with their guns and shit in front of, smiling, big smiles on their face. And just like the world got sold, that's where the terrorists are, and that's where Al-Qaeda, and then in 9/11 as an excuse to go over there and wipe out and commit genocide on all the people, so too will we, and not only we as Americans, but the world be sold on this phony idea that we have a new civil war in the United States of America. We have this big divided country, armed conflict, complete police state lockdown, and everything you've heard everybody scream about for years. And it's because of illegal immigrants got let in by Obama. And that's what caused this to happen. And that's what they'll write in the history books, and that'll become the common belief. But it doesn't make it the truth. But you see my point. They're trying to do that, to build that narrative again. Working on
now wherever we do go to war, and not just us, wherever there's big words, there's a lot of antiquities and old school shit that's of importance. So
that there, and then leaving, and 9/11 happening while he's there. And then when he gets ready to go through customs and get on the plane to come home, they tell him, "Oh, sorry, you're."
This is from InfoWars, and I always tell you to watch out because I don't believe everything Alex Jones says. This one's about Michael Hastings, who was the car reporter. That car blew up kind of mysteriously, but he was probably speeding. But the shit he was talking about was crazy, and the government says they were looking at him. But he was talking about this traitor dude, Burkdow, that we fucking gave up 5 dudes for. Now, that ain't good. It's all big game anyway. They're all vampires and on the same fucking side. So stay golden, open minds at empty ones.
Mike's car blew up, and he was dead.
Meantime, there are questions multiplying today about the mysterious death of award-winning journalist Michael Hastings.
Now, there's many speculations behind the death of Michael Hastings. But the way Mike was, he was on to so many hot stories at once that it was kind of hard to find out what it was at the time that he was on to. Because at the end of the email it says, I'm on to a big story, I'm going to go underground for a little while basically, and hopefully I see you guys soon. Well, here we are now, it's 2014, it's a year later, and in 2012 Mike wrote a story for Rolling Stone, The Last Prisoner of War, about Bill Bergdahl. And in the article, he's talking about a soldier who's disillusioned, who is disgusted with America, and walks off of his base. But no one pays any attention in this article whatsoever. Well, come to find out, after numerous FOIA requests from 2 different investigative journalists out of L.A., we now know that indeed the FBI had been investigating Michael Hastings for a year.
The science is in!
They had bugged him and been tracking him. So why are they lying? In Michael's article, it says that the soldiers were given non-disclosures to sign and were not allowed to talk about it. So what Michael did was he went to Haley, Idaho. He spoke with Bob Bergdahl, Bo's father. And what Bob did was show Michael some emails that he had been getting from his son in Afghanistan just maybe a month or so after being there. Said that he thought the Army was disgusting, that this was a crappy war, and that if things didn't, get interesting, he would just walk away. and now we know that that's what happened. You know, Michael knew when he wrote this back in 2012 that this would be a big story and could be the end of the Afghanistan war if the government used Bo as a pawn, so to say.
I think in the brigade signed a non-disclosure agreement not to talk about Bo Bergdahl.
So now we know that Mike went and spoke to Bob Bergdahl, and he also went to Afghanistan and spoke to soldiers from Bo's unit while they were in Afghanistan. So once we got that FBI document back from the FOIA request, it said that the reason that Michael was being investigated was due to what the FBI considered controversial journalism. Now, whatever that means.
Now it's time for your boy to Strammer and get up his grammar. Golden Debate Show, Golden Show, earlymorningout.com. Check out all the other podcasts, music, and videos that we do. And please like, comment, share, download, foul. Not be foul, but foul. Following. Follow me. Hello, follow. Take me to your leader. So let's get in with some articles. Camera sees around corners without mirrors and makes the invisible visible. Now, I'm already going to tell you that ain't God, but you can have your own opinion, because that's what it's all about. Free and open minds, not empty puns. Researchers at the University of Boron from Vancouver have developed a camera that can see around the corner. Scientists at the University of Boron and the University of British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada, have developed a novel camera system which could see around the corner without using a mirror, using diffusively reflective light. It reconstructs the shape of the object outside of the field of view. This is the... I'm not even going to try to... No, I will try to say it. Fuck it. This is the Matthias Holland from the Institute of Computer Science at the University of Boron. The researcher will be reporting their... It's fucking me up because I think it's actually a video, but I'm not going to click on it right now. Will be reporting their results in the International Conference of Computer Vision and Pattern Recognition, CVPR, from June 24th to June 27th in Columbia, Ohio. So this is like a little native advertisement that I talked to you about, native advertising, plug within the article. A laser shines on the wall, a camera watches the scene, nothing more than white ingrained wallpaper with a bright spot of light could be seen through the lens. A computer records this, an initially unremarkable image, and the data is processed further. Little by little, the outlines of the object appear on the screen. Yes, this object is behind a partition of the camera and cannot possibly have seen it. We have apparently looked around the corner. A magic trick? No, says Professor Dr. Mathis B. Holland from the Institute of Computer Science at the University of Boron. This is actually reconstruction from diffusively scattered light. Our camera, combined with the mathematical procedure, enables us to virtually transform the wall into a mirror. Damn, that ain't good. Scattered light is used as a source of information. The laser dot on the wall is by itself a source of scattered light, which serves as the crucial source of information. Some of this light is in a roundabout way, falls back into the wall, and then finally onto the camera. We're recording it kind of like a light echo. This is time-resolved data from which we can reconstruct the object, explains the Boron computer scientist. Part of the light also has come into contact object unknown, and thus brings valuable information with it about the shape and appearance. To be able to measure such echoes, a special camera system is required, which Professor Holland has developed together with his colleagues at the University of British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada, and further refined after his return to Boron. In contrast to the controversial cameras, it records not just the direction from which the light is coming, but also how long it took the light to get to the source of the camera. The technical complexity for this is comparatively low. Subtle imaging sensors came into the mass market long ago. These are mainly found in the depth image cameras, and they could be used, for instance, as video game controllers or for range measurements in the automobile field. The actual challenge is to afflict the desired information, such as time of flight measurements. Yeah, I read that right, but then I fucked up. Holland compares the situation to a room which reverberates so greatly that one can no longer have a conversation with one's partner. In principle, we are measuring nothing other than the sum of numerous light reflections, which reach the camera through many different paths, and which are semi-imposed on each other in the image sensor. The problem known as the multipath interface has been giving engineers headaches for a long time. Traditionally, one would attempt to remove the undesired multipath scattered and only used one directional pattern of the signal based on the advanced mathematical model. Holland and his colleagues, however, developed a method which can obtain the desired information exclusively from which would usually be considered noise rather than signal. So, that's not God. What will they be doing with that type of weaponry, eh? So I wanted to read some of these dirty mind riddles. Now, mind you, none of these are what you sick motherfuckers are going to be thinking about. Because I got fucked over too. What goes in dry and hard but comes out wet and soft? Chewing gum, dirty fuckers. Your finger fits it, you play with it when you're bored, and once you're married, you're stuck with the same one forever. A ring, everybody. Hey! You play with it at night, you can't be seen fiddling with it at work, and only important people till you touch it. It's your smartphone, fuckers. What does every woman have that starts with a V, is she can use it to get what she wants. Don't be sexist or perverted with this one. It's her voice. What goes up, lets out a load, and then goes back down? An elevator. What do men keep in their pants and their partners sometimes blow? Oh, it's money. What's made of rubber and handed out at some schools to prevent mistakes? And it's erasers. Come on, man. It's kids. Don't be sick. What starts with a P and ends with ORN and is the hottest part of the movie industry? No, it ain't. Let's make a porn. Boo, 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 boo. It ain't that Kardashian shit. It's popcorn. It's fun to do, but you hate knowing that your parents do it too.
And now, back to real news.
That's, Facebook, everybody. Facebook. What's white, gooey, sticky, and better to spit? Oh, it's toothpaste, everybody. That's what we had today. Now, that was pretty hilarious, everybody. Golden Show, Golden Debate Show, earlymoneymout.com. So now I'm going to read some real product instructions, and most of these ain't from the U.S., everybody. On a hairdryer. Do not use while sleeping. I would fucking hope so there. On a bag of Fritos. You could be a winner. No purchase necessary. Details inside. On a bar of Dial soap. Directions. Use like regular soap. Frozen dinner. Serving suggestions. Defrost. And that's just a suggestion, everybody. Fuck that. Put it in a micro. On a hotel provided sour cap in a box. Ooh, fits one head. What? Oh, that was the Dirty Riddles, though, everybody. On Tesco's, I guess that's the brand, tiramisu dessert. Do not turn upside down, and it's printed on the bottom of the mix, in the inside. On Mark and Spencer's bread pudding, I guess there's a brand. There's some native advertisement on this shit, I'll tell you that. Product will be hot after heating. Yeah, everybody. Do not iron clothes on a body. That was on an iron, everybody. It was on a package of an iron, and I can't even read where it's from. It's too small. On a Boots children's cough medicine. Do not drive car or operate machinery. Hey, isn't that for kids? On a sleep aid once his night.
The obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources through an emergency network hookup to keep you informed of all developments.
The ghost in the darkness. Go the journey, see you on the flippity flip, like, comment, share, and download. Golden Show, Golden Debate Show, we coming at you. Live from FEMA Region 1. Open minds on empty ones. Take care of yourself and everybody else. Everybody, let's do it up. This, you might have to believe in everything that I'm saying, but trust me, the rulers that have ruled us have ruled long enough. It's time for us to stand up and stay golden, everybody. When it says do to yourself and what you do to others. And a lot of motherfuckers obviously will sell yourselves out because you're selling out the next motherfucker. So like, comment, share, and download. Golden Debate Show. I'm gonna hit you with the Golden Show in just a few times. topics and mostly music. EarlyMorningMount.com. You can check out our other podcasts, music, and videos. I'm out. Liberty Glamour. What up?
We're talking hood. Draw the line. MC better talk with big chat. You know we're coming after that. Golden Show. Golden Bros. Golden Boss. Golden